then when I say, okay, everybody, until next time, and I'm going to end the stream, but don't disconnect. It takes a couple minutes for both of our audio needs to upload before I can let you go.
Oh yeah, you just let me know when.
I will, but
And yeah,
it seems like a big old, all right, we're done here, and it's not.
and then I'll just freeze and give a couple looks.
Okay. Work your angles, work the light. All right.
Yes.
Whew. Here we go.
You got this. Okay.
We had rehearsal last night, so I had a really late night. I barely
Oh my
slept.
goodness.
So this could be interesting. Are you ready?
Well, I'm seeing you on Sunday, so
Yay! I know I saw.
yeah,
You're the best. It's a
I am ready to
great
go.
fucking show. Okay. Here we go. Nope, I need my notes. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Make Me a Nerd. I'm Mandy Kaplan, and this is a podcast for the nerds out there and the nerd curious like me. It is my mission through this journey to discover all things nerd culture that I have been missing out on. I, of course, cannot go on this very important mission alone. I have invited extraordinary nerds to come with me, and I might have outdone myself today with my very special guest. He is a hilarious performer. He has been in my life for 30 years.
Oh my God.
I know. I didn't want to say it out loud, but there I said it. He is uh hilarious in life and on stage. He is wonderfully nerdy and a gamer, and I can't wait to deep dive into the world of fantasy with him. We're talking Dragonlance with Simon Petrie.
Hello.
Yay! Hi, honey.
Hi.
I always like to start with how you know me.
So I know you from a summer stock theater in southern Maine in the 90s called the
Yes.
Hackmatack Playhouse.
Yes.
And we did a whole summer of shows. And
Yes.
then, I mean, our lives just kind of circled, and we have just kind of kept in touch, and we both moved out to LA at about the same time, and I've just
I've
been
stalked you. You can
thrilled.
tell everybody. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I have security
Yes.
now.
You need it for your gorgeous chalet that you're
Right?
podcasting from.
Right.
Uh yes, we performed together, and then I've roped you into the Miscast family, and you
Yeah,
perform in
miscast.
Miscast when I'm lucky enough
Mhm.
to have you. And you are just one of my favorite people in the world. There, I said it.
Thanks. Likewise.
And I knew when I was launching this podcast, you were one of the first names on my list because
Mm.
I remember during the pandemic sitting very far apart in the backyard, and you and Casey starting to talk video games when he was 10 and just
Yep.
starting to get into them.
Yeah.
And you were like, the world disappeared for you once you knew you could talk video games. So
Mhm.
that's uh, that's when I really clued in. But what other nerdy things are you all about?
Okay, so, I'm a huge well, I work in IT,
Mhm.
and I've kind of like the second career in IT, and so, anything technology-wise, I am into. If it beeps or flashes, I'm into it. My other thing is I really grew up, and my first love was, fantasy novels, and of course, like there's the big ones that a lot of people know, which like the Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings and things like that. But there's also really woven into our culture right now this other aspect of fantasy and getting and Dungeons and Dragons, which was
Mhm.
another passion of mine.
Mhm.
And so you see in video games today, the most popular video games are RPGs. People might not know Dungeons and Dragons or Dragonlance, but they know RPG as a genre of video games, and
Mhm.
some of the most profitable and popular and successful video games of each year that come out.
Yeah.
So I love it all.
And you are leaving out a huge swath of something that you are very, very nerdy about, which is
What is
crafting.
that? Oh, that is true. So,
I
I
don't
guess,
know if it
yeah.
counts as nerd culture, but I know you are nerdy about
Well,
all
I
things
would
craft.
say it does in that I do crochet, I do weaving, I do a lot of fiber arts. And if you
Just
look
the
at
phrase fiber arts. I don't
yes.
mean to be glib, but come on.
Yeah, well, I do quilting and a lot of it is math. So some of the first computers were based uh, off of weaving looms. And
No
so it's the
kidding.
mathematics of that. Oh yeah, because it's uh yeah, it all kind of works together. So in weaving, it's math. In crochet, it's also math. And when you come to quilting and you're designing things, you want to make sure that you have, a 3-inch square, and you have to match it all up so that it creates your picture.
Sure.
So all of that is I guess falls in the nerdy genre, and
Well, buying
and
blankets at
also
Pottery Barn is also math, Simon. So I do it
feels
too.
good to do and is very meditative.
I am so happy for you. I do think we have a bit of a
I'm sorry,
lag,
I
so
just
I
lost you
hope.
for a sec.
Yeah. Are we
A
back?
little bit. It's okay.
We're
Yeah,
back.
yep,
Okay.
yes,
So you said, "Have you read Dragonlance?" And I said, "What with the what?" And
yep.
you were very excited, and I was excited to go to my local library. I'm going to show this. It's a visual. There are chunks hanging on by a thread. This book
Oh,
has been checked out
that is
10,000 times.
they don't publish it oh, no, I don't think they publish it that way anymore. I think it's
I
one of the
mean,
earliest publications.
pages are just worn away. It's
Yeah,
yellowed with time, and I love that.
yeah.
So for people who don't know, Dragonlance is the first Dragons of Autumn Twilight. And if I say
Mhm.
anything incorrect and I'm a bonehead, just correct me.
Okay.
Is the first of the Dragonlance Chronicles, Volume 1 by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. And this is what the back says. So everybody is with us for the discussion. Lifelong friends, they went their separate ways. Now they are together again, though each holds secrets from the others in his heart. They speak of a world shadowed with rumors of war. They speak of tales of strange monsters, creatures of myth, creatures of legend. They do not speak of their secrets. Not then. Not until a chance encounter with a beautiful, sorrowful woman who bears a magical crystal staff draws the companions deeper into the shadows, forever changing their lives and shaping the fate of the world. No one expected them to be heroes, least of all, themselves. Pete, if you
Mm.
want to throw some sweeping music on that, that was a read for the ages. Uh so before we dive into this discussion, for everybody listening, if you are not driving, please play the drinking game. Every time I say something like, "Oh, I didn't get that. I must have missed that. I didn't pick up on that." Have a drink. You'll thank me later.
You'll be drunk.
Yes. Okay.
'Cause I'm nerdy.
Simon, when did you first read this book? What made you love it? What made you want to pick it for me?
Okay, so I first, got this book, I must have been, uh, 11 or 12 when I got this book. And at that point, I was also kind of discovering Dungeons& and Dragons, um, and uh, it was just a really fun read, and it, um and it actually was based upon, um, 2 Dungeons& and Dragons campaigns.
Oh, I
So
see.
yeah, so essentially the authors, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, were working at, this company, called TSR, and they, had produced these little game modules, and somebody said to them, "You 2 are writing a book based upon this," and that's how
Oh,
they got into it. So they were kind of filling a set structure, and, um, and I just love the way that they introduced all these different characters, all these different backgrounds. There's definitely a sense of good and evil, and people striving to do the right thing and being thwarted, um, and it just kind of all swept me up then. And just over the, oh god, decades now, I've reread them several times, and they're just um, they make me feel kind of, oh, like you're coming home, just like the beginning of
Mhm.
the book,
That's
and
great.
it's a familiar journey that's just lovely.
For me, it's Valley of the Dolls. What does that say about me? That's the book I
Oh,
return to when I need a little shot of a homecoming.
there you go. Everybody needs their something.
I know. Okay, we're gonna pause the podcast.
Yeah.
Pete, we're pausing. Simon, maybe you could log out and log back in because you're really
Oh,
glitchy and laggy, and
I am
I don't know
very
if it's gonna
sorry.
affect the audio. So, let's try that.
Um, let me I'm thinking it might be the virtual background. Oh my. Okay, I
Yeah,
will
you don't
definitely do
need the
that. I will
virtual
do that
background
right now. Um,
unless it's top secret where you work.
no, not really. Let me see if I turn this off. None. Is that better?
You're still behind
You?
like, you're
Oh, I am.
moving smoother, but
Yep.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Try
log out
logging
and
out,
log
log
back
back
in.
in.
Yep,
Thanks, son.
will do. All right, bye.
Oh, Pete. Sorry about this.
Is this better?
So far.
Okay. I stripped out.
Alright.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in a building with a
It
with
is
a
better, Simon. I mean, it might
okay.
lag again, but right now we're good. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry. I mean, do you want me to flip the background back on?
no,
So
just
consistency or
oh, no, no, no. No, we're fine.
oh,
No one ever
okay.
watches the whole thing except me.
Okay.
Easy peasy. Okay,
All right. So you tell me where to pick up.
we are back. Okay, so you mentioned all these different creatures and characters, and
Yes.
there were a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Halfway through, I realized sorry, put a handy dandy primer in the front with the characters.
Mhm.
But even that doesn't help me because they're using words like kender and mage. So
Yes.
I'm already, even if I had read this in advance, I would still be lost. So it's 9 companions on this mission.
Correct.
I wish they would have just said one name for each person. But what they
Yep.
do is they'll say Sturm the warrior, and then in the next paragraph, they'll call him something else.
Right.
The brave knight.
They'll say,
And I'm
"Hey,
like, "Wait."
Brightblade."
Right, I'm like, "Wait, who's the knight? What happened to Sturm?"
Yes.
And okay.
No, you're right, because I think they took those liberties by saying like, "Oh, well, Raceland is a mage," and then they'll say, "Oh, the mage was brooding," and you're like, "But I think there's another mage in the room.
Yes.
Who are we talking about?" So yes, yeah, that is definitely one of the flaws. The book is certainly not perfect, and I can find million flaws with it.
Okay.
And so yes, absolutely, I acknowledge that. Yeah.
Yes. I was just so lost. I wrote, "Simon, can I get a species race primer? I've heard of elves, I've heard of dwarves.
Mhm.
Are they always the same in different books? Is Kender something that they've made up for this book? I needed a glossary about those things.
Yes, and I will definitely say that, that some of the races, the dwarves and the elves, are actually have there are different kinds of dwarves and elves in there that you encounter in the book. Some of them, and in fact, as the world expands, you find that there are more. So it's even though it's one race of elves, there is still a lot of inner politics going in between the
The
different.
gully dwarves and the other
Yes,
yeah, okay.
yeah,
I mean, it's
and
dizzying coming at it from a person who's only read Valley of the Dolls before. It
yes,
was but then if you grilled me, I could easily tell you which one was addicted to which pills and had slept with which guys. So,
yeah,
it's just a different sensibility, I guess.
yeah,
Um, so there were so many beautiful, creative things that I would just go, "Ooh," imagery
hmm
that I found really exciting. Um, and a nice balance of keeping it grounded. It opens in a tavern with a barmaid
yeah.
and there's war right outside, but they're safe. By the end of the book, they're not.
In the town and the town of Solus. So
Yes.
even the town's name is a sanctuary.
Oh, okay. I I would have said solace. I don't know.
Solace, I'm sorry, but yeah.
Oh, okay. But also, so many locations, so many lands
Mhm.
with very difficult names. I mean, I've said this on the podcast so many times. I apologize, but I just had to let it wash over me and not try to follow every single thread.
Which I think is the best way to kinda go at it,
Yeah.
because once you kind of get more immersed in the books, then many of these, companions kind of they become your friends, and so in the 2nd and 3rd books, you really get to it actually gets more into their own little character, and you become more familiar with them, but absolutely, you gotta kind of go with the flow.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for that permission. I feel
Mhm.
validated. So on the back of the book, it says they all have their secrets, but I
Yes.
didn't get that vibe. And again, that could be
Uh,
a maybe I missed it. Drink.
so I think the character obviously with the most secrets is Raceland. He's he goes to he's a um gifted young magician who is sent to take his test at the Tower of High Sorcery, far too young. I mean, normally people just they spend decades working at their craft before they
Mhm.
take the test because to fail the test is death. So
Oh,
they send him to this thing. His body is ruined and ravaged,
yeah,
and
he acts like a 95-year-old man.
yeah, because his body has been completely shattered, um, and I don't wanna well, shall we spoil a little in the future? Shall I
Oh, it's fine.
or oh, it
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So you really find out in not just not these 3 books, but also the following 3 books, about the twins, that he had to, or he was rescued during his trial at the Tower of High Sorcery by an incredibly the most evil mage of all time from hundreds of years before,
Mm.
who wanted to have a body to basically
Oh,
put
so
his
he's
consciousness in.
being inhabited by
He's not inhabited, but he's like a placeholder. So
oh.
this guy was like, I'll help you kinda pass this test and give you some stuff, but
Mhm.
you're an incredible magician, so I'm gonna shatter your body and make you really weak, so at the time that I decide to come forward in time, I can just basically jump in your
Hop right
body
in.
and take over.
Ooh, okay. I didn't get any of that.
Yes,
So
and
that's in
then
a future book, you
it's
said?
in the future, but Raceland in this book is like, you see his ambition, and he's like, "I want that power,"
Uh-huh.
and the question of what are the lengths you're willing to go to get that power, and he made unbelievable sacrifices specifically for that.
He also does a little whispering.
A little whispering, his skin is, like, basically yellow and
Everything was
jaundice,
the
his
maid whispered in a
Yeah,
whispered voice, the mage said,
yeah.
um, I was confused by him, and by the way, I had to look up the word mage, even though I use
Oh,
it
okay.
in Words with Friends.
Mhm.
Do we play Words with Friends with each other?
No.
I feel like you would kick my ass, but we should.
No, we should definitely.
Alright, let's get that going.
Okay.
Um, but his magic was so frustrating and unpredictable. Sometimes they
Mm.
would encounter a bad guy or a dragon, and he'd be like, "Hang back, I got this." And
Right.
then other times he'd be like, "I don't know if my sorcery can help. Nope, I don't know what I'm doing." What was
Mhm.
up with that?
So, I think that actually goes uh, into the Dungeons& and Dragons, like, rules and everything where, um, in the
Oh,
game, if you're a magician, you really only have, a few spells when you're starting out,
okay.
and you have to memorize these spells every day, and once you cast one spell, it's erased from your memory, and it saps your strength.
Wait, if I'm playing Dungeons& and Dragons and we're on a
Yeah.
campaign,
Yep.
if I use a spell, I can't use it again?
Until you have rested and rememorized the spell.
Oh,
Because as they say, like, the words of magic are like spiders on your mind, and they flitter away once it's done.
okay.
And yeah,
I mean, all I know about Dungeons& and Dragons is that on Big Bang Theory, Sheldon decided to let the dice decide everything for him.
yes, he is a
And
brave
so he had to
man.
have, like, a pitcher of margaritas and succotash for lunch one day because the dice decided that.
Yeah, you roll the D20 and you never know what's gonna happen.
Good lord. Well, I was gonna try some D&D, but now I'm afraid.
No, don't, it's so much fun. This
Um,
this book is actually a great introduction to the imagery and fun of Dungeons& and Dragons.
well, there were moments that I felt like I was playing it
Mhm.
where, from what I've seen on Big Bang Theory, and I'm not being sarcastic, that is my only
Yeah.
knowledge of Dungeons& and Dragons, but they would roll the dice and say, "Oh, okay, the cave has collapsed. Now what do you do?" And the
Yep.
book had a lot of that vibe, that something would just go their way
Mhm.
or not go their way, or a bad guy would just appear, but then the bad guys would just disappear and the good guys always won, which I was a
Yeah.
little I gotta be honest, I rolled my eyes, I'm like, "Really? None of these 9 companions are gonna get injured, or one of them dies and comes back," and
Yes. Now, that is not doesn't necessarily hold true in the following books.
oh,
That
okay.
yeah, so
Dun,
there's
dun, dun.
dun dun dun. But yeah, there are definitely as storytelling wise, some real like carving out a rescue or a narrow escape.
Mhm.
I always say, like, if 100 goblins are attacking you, not one of them is gonna hit you with their
Right.
poison sword. Like, come on, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm with you.
it's yeah. Oh, okay, good. I mean, it's felt strange, but I wanted one of the companions to die. I wanted the
Mhm.
stakes to feel like they were in actual peril,
Yeah,
and about the 5th or 6th time they ran into a draconian army and all of them left unscathed, it
yeah,
did then I was less invested in their well-being
mhm,
because I was like, "Nothing's gonna happen to any of them."
yeah.
And then when
Well,
they finally did kill one, it was like someone they introduced 2/3 of the way through, that old mage Fizban.
yes.
So
Oh, Fizban. Oh, I'll give you I can give you another spoiler alert because this is just like, so,
the smile, your Fizban
oh,
smile was priceless.
yes. So, you come to find out over the course of the books that Fizban is the god Paladine.
What?
Ah, everybody drink. Everybody drink.
Does that make any sense?
It is
Wacky old mage.
exactly. You would never expect. But yeah, he is a driving force, and there's a whole thing of why the good dragons and Paladine don't directly get involved with the goings on in Kryn. And later on you find out because the evil people are ransoming their the good dragons' eggs, their kids,
Mm.
and so they're preventing them from really getting directly involved. So they have to be a little circumspect in their involvement. And Fizban is one of the ways that they kind of nudge the companions along and get things going.
So there's a grander arc.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
when they wrote this one, they were like, "But we have a story mapped out for" how many
yes.
books are there?
So there are the chronicles are 3, and then you have the legends, which are another 3, and the legends focus specifically upon Raistlin and Carmon
Mhm.
and the other companions, but it's really about them. So it's really 6 in total, and with a lot of overarching um, themes and plot lines.
Gotcha. I mean, it was dizzying. End of chapter 3. Oh boy, I'm lost. Knight, elf, seeker, man, woman, mage, old man, theocrat, gold moon, kender, glowing heel staff, no problem, is
Hmm.
what I wrote. I was they don't ease you in whatsoever. I thought they would,
No.
because we're in a tavern, a place I
Yeah.
know well, and we
Yes.
meet Tika and whatever her old boss's name is, and I was like, "Great, I
Oitik,
got it."
yes. Yeah,
Right,
and there's a whole
and
thing
then
about Oitik's spicy potatoes. All these fantasy novels, if you read them, they're so focused on food. Any description of food
not enough
is
for my taste, because it was all
oh,
deer meat and stuff. That's not gonna
oh,
do it for
yeah.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I love descriptions of food. Are you kidding?
Mhm.
Um, so, uh, okay, page 111. The
Okay.
dead warrior speaks through Raistlin.
Yes.
Now, this has nothing to do with Dragonlance, but I
Okay.
did that to my friends when we were 11 years old playing with a Ouija board, and
What?
I pretended that a dead girl was talking through me, and it was the performance of my life, and for years after, I don't know that I ever really said to them, "Ladies, I was just doing that as an acting exercise." Yeah.
Oh, that is like the meanest and most amazing thing I've ever heard.
You just described me in a nutshell, honey.
Ah.
But that's what it were I was like, "Oh, I wonder if Simon knows my Ouija board story," but
I did not know it. No.
yes. And
Amazing.
Jeremy Clavin's husband extraordinaire, still
Yeah.
afraid of Ouija boards. Still
Wow.
believes that at his camp, the thing moved by itself.
Oh, yeah, I don't really mess around with it, just in case,
Oh,
you know?
interesting.
Yeah, I prefer that, anything like that. Any religious
Psychics or
well, psychics or I never try to disparage any religion because 'cause I'm like, "Ah, just in case."
who goes around disparaging religions?
Well, I mean, like, just be respectful to everybody and
Yeah.
everything, but the Ouija and stuff like that, I don't know if I wanna dabble on the board.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I would think that would go hand in hand with fantasy and spirits and other lifetimes and stuff like
and you
that.
would think that because the Dragonlance book and in the '80s, Dungeons& and Dragons, there was that whole thing of satanic panic,
Yes.
and that was all around this, and I had some very concerned my mom had some very, very concerned friends,
Bless her
"Oh,
heart.
I hope that he's not too interested in Dungeons& and Dragons."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Um, okay, so you're afraid of what? Numbers and imagination? Because
Right.
that's what Dungeons& and Dragons is. You roll dice and you have imagination."
Yes. And it's also I mean, it's the ultimate game of yes, and that's what
Yeah,
this book is,
truly.
right? There's no
Yeah.
there's no wrong answer, you just can't say no.
Mhm.
So, we're in the dark wood. Yes, and we're attacked by these the first dragon was the Kender in the dragon puppet? Am I getting that right?
Oh, so but yeah, that was the trick they played.
Yes.
So, yeah, so there was, the hobgoblins were all in a serving this big dragon, and they find out that it's the companions find out it's made of wicker, and then Tasselhoff, that little rapscallion,
Yes.
decides to get inside and play a trick, and
Yeah.
it's
But
fun.
even that is like, you're not saying, "No, there's no dragon." You're saying, "Yes, and the
Yeah.
dragon is actually made of wicker." Yes, and
Mhm.
so, that element of it, it's so boundless. It can
Yeah.
only get bigger and grander and more exciting. I
Yep.
just wanted them to die. I don't know why, Lemon. I don't know what that says about me, but it would have been more, I don't know. I would have been propelled into the story deeper thinking, "Oh my god, they could die at any moment. One of them could die."
Yeah, well, now we have the fantasy of today. First season, you're gonna have somebody important die.
Or
Yeah.
a red wedding, I've heard,
Or oh, Red Wedding.
right? I
Mhm.
know stuff.
Yeah.
Um, this episode of Make Me a Nerd brought to you by the word scry. To see into the future with a crystal ball. That's a great word.
Yes.
Scry.
Yeah.
Never
You
heard
gotta
of it.
scry yep. Find out where it is, scry it up.
Yep.
I'm
So
scrying for my keys this morning.
I had never heard the word. So, um, there were lots of words I looked up,
Mhm.
and I didn't read it on a Kindle. I don't like Kindles, but I like the ability to just touch a word and the
Oh, yeah.
definition appears.
That's
But
nice.
in a book that's falling apart that was actually published in 1984, that we don't have that ability.
Mhm.
Uh, so by page 128, I said, "This is not unlike a Real Housewives trip. When one wants to do a spa day, another one wants to ride the camels. There's division and dissension and always a power struggle, just like our protagonists here."
True. Yeah. I guess it could be, the Real Housewives of, Darkenwood.
Right. They
Yeah.
never made a decision unanimously. There was
Mm-mm.
always, two of them wanted to go this way and two of them wanted to go that way. And then they had to take sides and come on. And it kept happening.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is it kind of fills out their characters a little more, gives little snippets of their backgrounds as they go along.
You
And
definitely
also
got more personality that way,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And who was a wise ass and who was humorless and
Yeah.
you
Who's
get a
in it for
sense of them.
themselves and who's in it for the group.
Right.
Yeah.
But so at that point, and now we're about almost a third of the way through the book, let's say,
Mhm.
I lost sight of the mission.
Mm.
Like I knew there was war,
Yeah.
but I
Is this
lost
is
sight
this
of what they were heading
before
towards.
is this before they got to, the
They're on their way
big
to Zach Zareth.
Daxaroth? Yeah. Yeah. So there is I, fully agree that there is a lull in the book at that point.
Okay.
Kind of like, "Oh, they're going through swamp." Like, "Okay, you're going through swamp, you're going through swamp." Like, and then, thankfully, once they get there, things start accelerating, again.
When you say phrases like "I fully agree," I cannot
Yeah.
tell you the joy in my heart. 'Cause it's I feel like a lot of this world, I've said
Mhm.
this before, I feel inadequate or ill-equipped. Am I not
Oh,
smart enough? Am I not imaginative enough to keep up with this stuff?
no, not at
And,
all.
I really, but I found it redundant.
Mhm.
They would meet another bad guy who was like, "You can't pass." See, I just quoted
Yes.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then they would battle him and he would die and they'd move on, and then they would have another argument and then they'd move on, and it felt redundant, and I said, "I
Mhm.
assume when you're on a D&D campaign, it's not repetitive like this."
Well,
Or is it?
most are in an ideal scenario, it's not, and whoever has organized the adventure has that all set up. But again, I'm thinking maybe because the book was based upon 2 campaigns, that it might be maybe that lull is actually them trying to, like, bridge the 2. I
Mm.
have no idea. Um, I will say that I am in contact with Margaret Weiss. Um, and and by that, I mean she liked one of my tweets.
Okay.
And I also let's delve even more nerdy. I actually, uh, almost 20 years ago, went to a book signing, and I met her and had her sign my book, and it's still a very cherished,
Of course.
memory, and I follow her on social media and see her living her best life and being the continuing to be the nerdy D&D gal that she is, and then she's still writing. So, um,
That's so cool.
yeah, yep.
I love that you framed it like, "We're tight. We tight. We go way back." Yeah.
She likes to tweet.
Well, next time you talk to her, can
Yes,
you make a polite request?
no probs.
Stop introducing new things and lands and
Mhm.
creatures with multiple names.
Got
It
it.
so I used the example of Sturm before, but then they
Mhm.
would meet somebody and they were like, "Oh, that's the dragon blah blah blah. Her people call her this, but her enemies call her this. She's often referred to in something as this, but we just
Yes.
call her this." And it would
Oh,
be
you
like
know who's
5 or 6 names.
the big one of the biggest culprits of that is, Kitiara, because they say, "Oh, it's Kitiara, it's Kit. Oh, it's Carmen and Raisin's half-sister. Oh, it's the dragon High Lord." Yes,
She's the dragon high lord?
she is a dragon High Lord.
I didn't okay, but she's the one that Tanis is in love with,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah, and she's the
We
one
know
that
did we meet her?
you really don't get to
We
get
didn't.
get to meet her until, the 2nd book.
Okay, we met the other childhood crush though, Lorana.
Yes,
She
we
was a
have met
badass.
Laurana, yes, and
Yeah.
her journey is really I mean, she just yeah, she's amazing.
Okay, she didn't get a Fizban smile from you though, just for the
No, she didn't.
record.
I was holding it in because she just becomes, an amazing powerhouse and winds up, ascending to command armies, um, and just yeah.
Now, I know it's not real time, but how long was it from the time that he was like, "You and me forever, baby," and then he left for what, 50 years? And then he comes back and she's like, "Yay, you're back." And he was like, "Just kidding. I like someone else." Am I
I
getting
don't
all
know
that
the
right?
specific timeline. I know that, well, it had to have been, longer because the companions separated for 5 years to search for the true gods, and then they came
Mhm.
back, which is the beginning of the book. So and 5 years before that, Tanis was with Kitiara, so it had to have been
It says 50 years in my
before.
notes.
Is it 50 years? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't age?
Well, elves age much slower than humans.
How do I get some elf juice?
See, I knew that I could get you into the world of Dragonlance.
Oh my god, I need the products.
Yeah, no kidding.
I
Yeah,
need
they
the
have
elf neck cream.
ooh, they have all the potions, and they just stay young.
Now, is it elves? It's elves in Lord of the Rings too. That's what Liv Tyler and
True. Yes, and
right?
one of the big criticisms of these books is they said they took whole chunks from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, and there are definitely cross ties into it.
Yes.
Basically, at that time, of course, every fantasy book written was like, in almost an homage uh, to Tolkien because he
Right.
had such a huge influence. But, yeah.
I was gonna say that. Bring it
Oh,
in, Simon, bring it in.
okay.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say there were
Mm,
so many parts of this that felt like not ripped off, but very reminiscent of Lord of the Rings. But
yes.
then that is the only other entity of this genre I have ever read, or I didn't
Uh-huh.
read it, I watched the movie. So I didn't want you to be like, "Really? You watch one fantasy story, now you think everything is just like it?" But they are
Yeah.
very similar, right? A bunch
Yes.
of elves and
Uh,
dwarves on a mission through the woods.
there's so much crossover, and
Okay,
there's so many, those tropes, and yeah,
okay. I'm not crazy.
you're not
Well,
crazy.
I might be, but not in this. Um, okay, I mean, I was so confused,
Mhm.
but I was on the adventure. But
Yeah,
when Gold Moon is this beautiful cleric, which is also a healer, which and
correct.
she's also the chieftain's daughter, and she's
Yes.
also the queen.
Mhm.
Do
and
I have
she's
all
in
these titles
yeah,
right?
yeah, you do, and she's in love with Riverwind, who is a commoner, and so she was forbidden to be with him, and their love has
Hot.
seen them through.
Hot, hot, hot.
Yeah.
So, wait, first of all, my Riverwind and Gold Moon sounded very Native American, and I didn't know if there was any reason or
Well,
connection or
they're from I guess they're from they're called the Plainsmen, so they're various tribes that live out in the plains, and I would think that, yeah, you could make correlations between, uh, Native Americans, I can see that.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, just the names. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know their culture, but,
well, yeah,
okay, so she dies.
she
Gold Moon
does.
dies,
Mhm,
and then she's alive.
true. So she's kind of raptured in a way,
Okay.
right? So she has oh, sorry, oh, um
Raptured, and then all your lighting changed, and that was
I know.
intense.
I like a dramatic moment.
Dramatic effect, that was good.
Um, so, uh, yeah, when they're fighting, they're fighting the dragon, and she uses her healing staff, the first, healing that has happened in hundreds of years in the entire world, and she has it, and then she basically finds her faith through sacrifice and is brought to become a full cleric. So she doesn't specifically need a staff to do miracles.
Oh.
It's her faith in her goddess that allows her to heal people.
Oh, good for her. I
Yeah.
didn't get that. Yeah, they seem to drop the whole "give me the staff, who has the staff." That didn't affect the last couple 100 pages. Did they lose the staff?
No, the staff was shattered.
It was shattered.
Yeah, the staff was shattered. So
Like my
she
dreams of Broadway stardom.
see, there we go. And just
There's
like
something for
Broadway,
everyone.
but their stage was a dragon's lair and being
Yes.
trying not to get killed by a dragon.
Yes. Uh, so well into the journey, they return to the tavern,
Yes,
which is now the rest of the town has been
destroyed.
decimated by draconians. It's
Yep.
awful, but Tika, the tavern girl, is still there, and I have to
Yep.
say I was so excited because she's who we started with.
Yes.
So it was nice to get back to her.
Mhm.
And Caramon, twin brother of Racelyn the mage,
Yeah.
is hot for Tika.
Oh, he is.
Yes.
Mhm.
So they are hitting it off. Now, why the hell would Gold Moon cock block Caramon and Tika? What's her problem?
I don't know, she's a queen.
She's all, "Oh, she's too innocent. Don't go for it. She's never been with a
Mhm.
man."
Well,
I
that's
thought we
true.
were gonna get to, like, some
Well,
hot
I mean,
elven sex.
she might have been like, "Oh, yeah, Caramon's kind of a dog."
Is
Maybe
he?
she got no, he's not. He's in love with Tika, and they wind up falling in love.
So why is Gold Moon
I don't
breaking it up?
I think
Or
she's I think she was just concerned that Tika is a young barmaid who's not worldly, and she doesn't want her to, you know, maybe fall in love with this guy who's off fighting all the time and be stranded. But then her character develops and she turns into the badass barbarian.
right. And I'll
And
say it, lighten
yeah,
up, Gold Moon.
right.
The heart wants what it wants. Love is love.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tika comes on the mission, Lorana comes on the mission. They pick
Uh-huh.
up Eben, they pick up Fizban, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, "You already had too many characters for me to keep straight, and now you
Yes.
just keep adding to the gang."
Yes, yes.
Then they find out there's a traitor. Page 385. They
Mhm.
suspect it prior, right? They
Yes.
suspect there's a traitor?
Yeah.
So I wrote page 385. Who's the traitor? I have to cook dinner, damn it. I'm on the edge of my seat. And I had to close the book. But then Eben, the new guy, was the traitor.
Mhm.
That's not as
I
exciting
know.
as, oh my God, it's been Tasselhoff all along,
Right. Well,
right?
I never yeah, I mean, but by that point also, you're like, Tasselhoff doesn't really have it in him to be a traitor. He's just
No, but any of
yeah,
them.
but yes, and I do think it was a little bit of a letdown because, like you said before, you want the stakes to be higher.
Right.
So,
Right. So
and
how would it feel if Riverwind was a traitor and he had been with
right.
them all along?
Mhm.
I
Yep.
wanna do an alternative version.
Oh, you do? Oh, so you're interested in, like, fan fiction?
Oh, maybe, yes. I just think that things like that are frustrating. They feel like a
Yeah.
cop out, you
Mhm.
know? It's to me, it reeked of when you're watching a movie and you see a major actor. Ooh, Sam Jackson's in this movie, and he's got such a small part." He's gonna be the
Yes.
bad guy.
Yep.
It's gonna be him, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. Like, of course, it's
Mhm.
the new guy they just picked up
Right.
who
Yep.
doesn't go to sleep when they go to sleep. Come on.
Yeah. Well, it's just coddling the characters and protecting them to get to the second
Yes.
book, I guess.
Who dies in future books? Who kicks the why am I so obsessed?
Sturm.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
he's expendable. He
Yeah,
doesn't have his own,
but
th
his whole journey is also he wants, the Knights of Solamnia are decimated. He has his father's armor that the only thing he inherited from, I guess his very rich estate was just this armor, and he wants to be a stand-up knight and do the right thing. And so he manages to accomplish really unbelievable things, and then is is killed in a very sad way. In
hmm.
the Yeah, yeah. So that's uh yeah, it's very disappointing. And then also who kills him in the second book is a little shocking.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah.
well done, sir.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
teased.
Mhm.
Uh, I yeah, only one of 9 characters dies, and they're in peril throughout 6 books?
No, not just one.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're so
Not if
cagey.
not everybody makes it, Manny,
Okay.
you gotta set them up before you knock them down.
Okay. I I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
So the book ends with an image of a chicken feather, and I
Mhm.
was like, "What the fuck is that about?"
Mhm.
Did they mention chicken feathers throughout the book and I missed it?
I think it relates back to Fizban.
Why?
I'm not even
I was about to fake
that
it and go,
sure.
"Oh, yes, I see Fizban, I'm on chicken feathers." No, I don't know what you mean.
Um, I just think it does. I don't know why, because he's just just a weird old man who happens to also be a god.
And a chicken feather represents that?
I guess. I guess
Wait,
I'm
are
gonna
you
have
being
to do
cagey or you really don't
No, I'm
know?
not.
Oh.
I really no. Now I gotta do research.
Oh, please do.
Yeah.
Well, while you do the research, I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
business for
Oh,
the
okay.
podcast. Here we go.
Sure.
Forgot we were on a podcast, just hanging out
Mm.
with my friend Simon.
Hey, hey.
Make Me a Nerd is a production of True Story FM, engineering by the peerless Pete Wright. My theme music is Wonderstruck by Jane and the Boy. Please reach out on social media if you'd like. It's at Mandy_Kaplan_Clavens, both with K's. If you're listening on Apple, hit that pause, hit that 5-star review, and write a review underneath it where it says write a review. That really helps me get the word out and get more eyes on the podcast, more ears on the podcast. And while you're at it, go to makemeanerd.com. There's so much there. You can hit the Discord button and join me on Discord, which I have finally figured out. I'm back on Discord. Thank you, world. Uh, you can become a member of this little community, and that is going to get you your episodes ad free and early and bonus content. I would love it and appreciate it if you would join me on this journey. Makemeanerd.com. What does the chicken feather mean, Simon?
Well, I'm now I'm researching. It
Oh,
is
you're still
Fizban.
It
Oh,
is
yeah,
Fizban. You just felt
sig
it.
significance of chicken feathers, so that's why.
Ooh.
So, um, when they're escaping the dragon,
Mhm.
um, Fizban casts that spell, and he creates a huge pile of feathers, and that's where Fizban dies.
Drink, everybody. I missed it all.
Right. That's where Fizban dies, and that's also a little thing where, any normal mage would cast that spell and people would just kind of float down, but Fizban, having the powers of a god, he's like, "Oops," and causes 3 tons of chicken feathers to appear.
Oh, been there.
Yeah, yeah, all in the
Haven't
tank.
we all?
Mhm.
Um, well, I can't believe our time is coming to an
I
end.
know.
Any other points of the book you just had to talk about?
Um, no, I'm just really thankful that I got to share this with you. I don't think you realize, like, the depths of my, um, D&D nerddom, but these books are just, cherished, um, for me and obviously for millions of others, and I just hope
All
you
of whom
enjoyed
have
it.
taken this out from my library.
Yes, but
Millions.
I hope you enjoyed the journey.
I really did. I
Yeah.
mean, I wished it were less repetitive.
Yep.
If it were 300 pages, it would have been action-packed,
Mm.
you know? So
Mhm.
that would be my overall note, but it
And
was
they
unlike
did
anything I've ever read.
make a movie of it.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
Do tell.
With Kiefer Sutherland and Lucy Lawless, and
What?
oh, yeah, and, it was a flop.
Oh,
Yeah, I think the budget was very low, and it was not executed as well as it can be. I mean, I watched it, but
of
even as a
course
super
you
fan,
did.
I was
Yeah.
I was like,
Mm.
but,
Xena
but
the
there you go.
Warrior Princess is another thing that I need to get into for this podcast.
Oh, great.
People that
Mhm.
has a crazy fan base,
Yes.
and
Oh, and I'll do the last tie-in, because I said, I think at the beginning when we were talking, that I might have a tie-in to one of your other episodes.
oh, yeah.
I think you had mentioned, I think it was on your first podcast with Tommy,
Mhm.
that you enjoyed the cartoon He-Man.
I did.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so the artist for the Dragonlance books, and the covers is an artist named Larry Elmore. And, I don't know if it was that cover, but he's done tons of artwork for Dragonlance.
Oh,
And he was also doing a lot of the, um, marketing and packaging and drawings for the He-Man cartoon.
excellent.
Yeah, it was like a
He-Man
whole
has come up literally in half my episodes.
Oh,
Not for
wow.
me, but when I say, "Hey, when did you know you were a nerd?" or "When did you get into, nerdy stuff?"
Mhm.
So many of my guests say, "Well, I watched He-Man."
Yeah.
And that started me thinking about these things, and I wanted to know
Mhm.
more. So that was real seminal, if I'm using that word correctly.
There you go. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah. So
Well, thank you for
yeah.
your expertise and your passion. That's what this is really about, right? You
Mhm.
not only is it a nerdy story or a nerd genre, but you are
Mhm.
nerdy about it. And that's what I'm
Right.
trying to tap into. Why people love these things so much.
Yeah,
Um,
and I love how I mean, you don't just dip a toe, you just throw yourself in the deep end,
I'm
and you're like,
trying.
Someone teach me how to swim,"
Yes.
and you're
Thank
doing it.
you. I'm
Yeah.
really trying, and your Fizban smile made it all worthwhile. Okay, so my next, episode is Quantum Leap,
Ooh.
the 1989 series, and the 3 episodes that I am watching are didn't I write them down? Yes, I did. Future Boy, A Leap for Lisa, and The Leap Home. They are available on Amazon. You can get them each for $1.99. If anybody wants to watch and join that conversation, feel free to do so. Simon Petrie, do you want people to check out your crafty
Oh, yeah,
stuff?
if anyone's interested, I am Crafty Simon on Instagram, so feel free to check out. I post my little crafting and all that good stuff.
And
Very
pictures of your
positive.
cats?
Pictures of my cats, basically all the upbeat things in life.
Thank you so much. I adore you, and
Thanks,
this was
Mandy.
so much fun. Thank you for sharing this really interesting, fun, cozy, like you said, it's like a homecoming. It's a very
Mhm.
cozy book just to
Yes.
drop into this world for the time I did. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Until next time, everybody.